we go.
Steady.
Oh my gosh. Here we are.
Ryan's face.
We are live. All right. So before we get started, we are having cell tower issues. So the normal, clean, nice sounding picture. I think it's because LJ's here, or it's probably because Pinkston's here, actually. Pinkston's probably the reason why it's not doing this. So we are having some. He needs his glasses already. You guys are in for a treat. This has started.
Can you hear me?
45 minutes ago. Forklift certified, exactly. So listen, just before we get started though, for you guys that are watching, please bear with us tonight. Me and Paul can't really figure out what the deal with the router is. I have no idea. So I apologize from the get-go already for if it kind of gets a little bit staticky and stuff, because you guys have been watching for a month now since we've had this router, and it's been fantastic. And now today of all days, I think it's Pinkston's fault. We'll blame Pinkston.
Oh,
What was that?
Did you try to reset the router?
Yeah, we did.
Did you unplug it?
Did you unplug it? Plug it back in?
We done it all.
Did you call your IT department?
Close it at the
They
moment.
told us to unplug it, plug it back in.
They told us to unplug it and plug it back in. So listen.
Now we had Steve do that.
So listen, guys. But
God.
listen, we got a great show in store for you guys.
I do have standards.
Yeah,
They're low, but I've got
this show may run over 2 hours. I'm not 100% for sure.
No, let's
get straight to the business, you guys. Like I said, we appreciate you guys watching. We got a really fun episode installed for you guys tonight. As always, we want to start out by thanking some of our fine sponsors. For her apparel, Miss Jennifer, she is absolutely wonderful. And she has some great outdoor apparel for all the significant women and men in your life, however you swing. That's, it's whatever you want to do.
Let's not talk.
But Jennifer, she's wonderful. Her and Peyton, her granddaughter, they're wonderful owners at For Her Apparel, outdoorapparel.com. Guys, Christmas season's coming up, and for that special person that may be a angler or a hunter in your life, it'd be a great product for you to buy. So go to www.forheroutdoor.com and pick up some great stuff, especially for, I promised Jennifer the other day I would say this, her hats that they have that have the ponytail holder in the back of them, so you can put your ponytail through the back of the hat. And they are extremely nice. Got to see them in person. And they're a fantastic product. Everything that Jennifer does and Peyton does is absolutely fantastic. And at the end of the day, they both fish.
We need to buy Jeff Nail some of them. He was in a ponytail today.
Yeah, Jennifer needs to get Jeff Nail a ponytail hat. That would be great.
Yeah.
Jennifer, he'll be there tomorrow.
So you going with Jennifer tomorrow?
We're going to Mellow Mushroom.
Are you going to Mellow Mushroom?
Yeah. You want to go? There's a bunch of. You want to go?
I might come.
Send me a text. We have to.
I'll let you know if we decide if you're invited.
Oh, okay. So I have to be cordially invited. So we'll see right there. So, we got some Gamecock love in the house.
Snipers over there.
So like I said, Jennifer with For Her Apparel, her daughter Peyton, they had their first tournament with the GHSF this past Sunday. It was it's been tough. And we're going to kind of delve into that a little bit here. It's been tough fishing on Lanier especially, but it, like LJ said, it is picking up. I was on the water this week too, and the fish are going. It's just a matter of time for them to be where they're supposed to be.
They're starting to get there. We found that. Well, today we didn't. Me and Earl found it, but today I was out with Jeff. Me and Jeff went out. Oh hell.
His phone's ringing. Somebody's on a guide trip already.
Yes, would you like a trip? Hello?
Only on the Livewell.
I thought I turned the ringer down. There it is. It's off now. My bad, guys. No, Earl and I found some stuff stacking up in the ditches. They're starting to stack up, not deep, but 30, 35 feet.
Yeah.
But today,
like I said, they're making their way.
They're making their way. That the bait and the fish. And today, though, Jeff was. I've always fished mid lake, to lower end.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do I go north.
Right.
So Jeff and I got on. Jeff Nail Guide Service, by the way. Jeff, he showed me some things on how the lake fish is so much different up there. You know that.
It does.
I mean,
That's where I live up there.
It's completely different lake. And I was out deeper, but I mean, it's a running joke among the fishing community and friends that that if I get in water 15 foot or less, I get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell, the boat was in 15, 18 foot of water all day long, and we're throwing to, 6 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my kind of fish.
I was tingling. I was scared. I kept looking behind me. Like I said,
that's what I was about to say. He made the comment earlier. He said, I kept looking behind me on the other bank, hoping I could get to that side.
Get to the deeper water.
Deeper water. So yeah. So look at Sal. He's like already hitting on you there. You're so funny, LJ.
Oh God,
Sally. So,
I'll be. If I need to be, I'll be single, Sal.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
I shouldn't have said that around Pinkston.
You shouldn't have said that around Pinkston. So speaking of Pinkston, so let me introduce my star-studded panel and the peanut gallery. I'm going to introduce the peanut gallery as well. As you already know, the world famous James Lanier Jim LJ Harmon of Lanier Baits fame, Lanier Jim Fishing on Lanier.
Wow.
He is right here to my right. And
thank you very much.
To my left is none other than his can I call him Robin? Is he Robin?
Big Robin.
Big Robin.
He's Little John.
Little John. Robin Hood and Little John. We got Robin Hood and Corey over here, and we got Little John right here. That's it. I got Earl Porter. He has decided, he said, I don't really want to talk. Can I just sit right here? I told him, I said, you can sit here.
Seat in the house.
And see, look, he's talking.
He's comfortable.
Listen.
Yeah, that's fine.
You speak loudly. Let me hear that accent.
I don't have one. You guys do.
You guys. I love it. I love it. So I got Big Earl here. And of course, probably of great fame and fortune, Mr. Sugar Hill Bait Company and Sugar Hill Nut Companies himself is here, and he brought us a bag of nuts. We got Steve's nuts.
I got 2 of Steve's nuts in my hands now.
Steve's nuts, Mr. Steve Pinkston. You guys know him. He's always down, either shaking his nuts on his trees, and
I'm always down for whatever.
Exactly. So, but if you do not have any of Steve's nuts, we have some in store. You can come get some. And other than that, you can go down to Bass Pro Shops and pick some up from Steve himself.
Ma'am.
Is festival season over, Steve?
Before we start talking fishing. We had a good season and didn't get rained on a whole lot, so I'm glad it's done.
It's done, over with until next year.
Got a little break here until we get cranking on the holidays, so
oh, Lord.
We're getting there.
Well,
I'm just looking at some of the people on here. Sanders, how does a 3.3 ounce drop shot weight?
Oh,
3 hitting the dock. Oh, he must have talked to Jeff. We were pitching around a dock today, and 2 or 3 foot of water.
Mm-hmm.
And about the time I went to pitch, either he said something or I heard something. I don't know what I did, and I just kind of pitched it and looked around, and the only thing we heard was bam! And Jeff, damn, you fishing for squirrels? I threw that sucker straight up, then went right on top of the roof, came back down.
You are really out of your element when you get around like shallow structures.
Yeah, I am. I'll be the first one to admit it.
Well,
so if anybody out there is a real good shallow water fisherman, I'd love to hear it.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, Ryan. I'm sorry.
She's all right.
My bad.
I'm okay.
I was just looking at some of the people on here. Hunt's on here. Hunt went MIA for a while. He's back.
He gets thrown in Facebook and YouTube jail.
He's in jail all the time.
Yeah, he gets thrown.
Sanders is here. Wow.
Crying about the Dodgers losing.
Hello there. Is that say Dan or Don?
That's Dan Classio. Is that how you say it?
I think it's Kayachio.
Kayachio.
Kayachio. Oh.
Kayachio.
What's up, dude?
Okay. Do you know him?
I think I do.
You think you do?
I
You
think
took
I
him
did.
on a trip or two?
I think I did.
Okay, cool. So listen, I know we're going to have a lot of good viewership tonight. And you guys are going to learn a lot. I can promise you that already. And we're going to have a good time, a lot of laughs.
We've even got some screenshots to throw up.
We do have some screenshots.
So people understand
throwing up here in a little bit. So, but let me finish introducing. Of course, Paul is, as always, fantastic. Mr. Paul Coonan. He is behind the board running everything.
Whoa.
And we have Little John's Robin Hood is over here off camera. Mr. Corey Harmon is here. He's over here in his fine glory of Braves attire. Go Bravos.
Champion
Aura for how many more weeks? About 2 week and a half.
I'm a champion?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I guess 2 more weeks.
What's happening in 2 weeks?
Well, the World Series will be over by then.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll be done with it.
He Corey's got about 100 hats, 200 hats.
He likes them.
They're all Braves hats, all kinds. It's pretty cool.
It is cool, and some Gwinnett hats too. And then we got Mr.
Prestige.
The Prestige.
Is that what we call him?
Prestige.
The Prestige, Jimmy Meadows, who
Prestige
is
worldwide.
in case anybody don't know,
Instigator.
in case anybody don't know
Boats and hope.
him and his fine wife, wonderful wife Jackie, they are new grandparents. They are new grandparents.
Granddad over there.
Grandpa, tell me about the good old days, Jimmy. That's all I got to say about that. And then certainly last but not least, we have a wonderful customer in the store with us. His name is Lee. What's your last name? I forgot. Strickland. Lee Strickland is in the house, and he wanted to sit in on this and have a good time and share some laughs with us.
So he's a great customer, and you didn't know his name?
Yeah, exactly. I just knew Lee. At least I'm not Danny, where it's like everyone, hey, bud.
Hey, dude.
At least I knew his first name.
Hey, boss.
Hey, boss.
He don't know yet.
Yeah,
that's exactly
Danny.
right.
If Danny's watching, it's always, hey, boss. Hey, dude. What's up, bud? It's always that. So,
Ace.
but we got a full.
Kurt's out on parole.
Kurt. Yeah, he's on parole.
Hey,
we
Ron.
got a full basement full tonight. And again, before we get into this, I do want to say, anytime you guys want to come up here and see this in person, live in studio, and get to share in some of this stuff, you guys are always welcome to come. We welcome you to come, as always. So
They might even let you on.
might even let you on. We might stick you in a chair. You never know. So be prepared. Be prepared as always. So, guys, sit back. Hope you got your notepad ready, handy dandy notebook, and we hope that Paul is messing with something. So
I need to get bigger font.
You need your glasses.
Well, that's just for little.
wanna swap
That's
with
for
Steve?
reading. That's for reading.
It's not helping me.
What's up, my fellas?
So
That's it.
we
I
need.
guess if I crawl up in Steve's lap, I can see
Yeah,
it.
can you bring that font up bigger?
I'm working on it.
So Paul's trying to work on getting the comment font
I didn't want to bitch
bigger.
about it, but
We got a bunch of blind dudes in here, except for Steve. He has.
Buy me a drink first
Bye.
before you come sitting on my lap.
Oh my God,
tequila time.
that's funny.
I don't want you to get the wrong idea about me. I'm
Jimmy Sanders with
He
the
said, "I've got
Tennessee
that
hats.
man
Oh
Tennessee
God,
hats. That's for
they
Corey.
play football for 1 year since it's been 15, 16 years. They quit playing football.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're playing this year.
Yeah, they think
And boy, they're coming out the
they
woodwork.
think they're the greatest thing since instant grits. I
Mm.
think
South Carolina's 5-2.
Is instant grits a great thing?
y'all are playing beamer ball,
Getting there.
getting there,
You
getting there 100%. So,
Are the Cox really 5-2 this year?
Yeah, and they're
Wow.
I think number 25 now.
Oh, okay. So
They're ranked.
they're ranked. So Steve's got something to be proud of.
I'm always proud.
Well, yeah, he is always proud. So anyway, I think Paul's got himself situated with what he wants to do. So let's go ahead and start diving into this, you guys. So enough of the chitter chatter. So October. Yeah, that's what I gotta say about October fishing. October fishing's been it's been terrible. It really has been terrible. If you guys paid attention today to the Hammond's digital tournament weights, Emil Wagner won, but he only caught 8 fish in the MLF style format. Had about 24 pounds. I think Underwood was second, they had 6 fish for like 17 pounds, and then Tim Hawkins and his partner, they only caught 3 fish. And if Tim Hawkins only catches 3 fish, that's it's definitely fishing tough.
I know I was talking to, was it y'all over here? That March and October are my worst months. But as soon as November rose, as soon as that water temp, like today, we were in 68-degree water.
Yeah, and that was warmer than what it was when I was out there Tuesday.
Yeah, when it gets down 60 degrees, 62 degrees, down into the 50s, that's when I'll be pulling into ditches and getting on some big schools.
Yeah, and as we talked about there right on the very beginning, the fish are kind of they're starting to go to where they're going to be here in November and December, but they just ain't quite really there yet. And the bait, and which is, you hear it all the time in terms of fall fishing and early winter fishing. Follow the bait, you find the fish. If you find the bait, you find fish. And that is true right now to a certain extent. But getting them to bite right now,
it's tough. It's tough.
So,
I'll tell you one thing. Today, like I went out with Jeff Nell. Jeff Nell and I are good friends.
Yeah.
Jeff and I were out on his boat. He was going to help me and show me, because of where we moved. I'm right at Thompson Creek, basically. So I've been trying to learn the north end. You and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
And I went out with Jeff today, and we were sitting in 15, 18 foot of water 90% of the time, pitching to, like I said, sometimes 5 inches, sometimes 4 feet. And that shallow water, that just makes me nervous.
Yeah.
I'm just not a shallow water fisherman. It's going to take a while to get me accustomed to that. Yeah. And I'll be the first to admit it.
It's totally different fish.
Yeah, but you get me on a deep brush pile, main lake, or I could be pretty hard to beat on that.
You're home.
I'm at home.
You're home. You're comfortable. And you hear us all talk about that a lot here on the show and stuff. And I think I'll reiterate this again. And I think all 3 of these guys and Jimmy as well, and Lee and Paul will all agree too. Corey, I know he don't really fish, but he can throw in his 2 cents on it as well. You need to always try to fish your comfort zone and be comfortable. If you're uncomfortable with what you're doing, then you need to either make 2 decisions. You need to either continue to try to improve on that uncomfortableness of what you're fishing, or you just need to say, this ain't for me. I'm going to go back to doing what I normally know how to do. Well, and what you have confidence in.
Once living up that way, Earl and I went into we were in deep water, but we actually we went up to the Yellow Creek area and started looking around, fishing a little bit. But it's going to take a while to get accustomed to it. And scratch fishing, yes, pitching the drop shot today.
Yeah. So, and Jeff, he likes to do that a lot, pitch a drop shot. When he was on the show, he talked about that a lot. I think it fascinated Danny. I think he was fascinated with that you could pitch a drop shot. So,
Earl and I found. I'll tell you one thing. See, we caught fish today, but when we looked out, we didn't look out deep. But when Earl and I went and looked out deep, we found a lot of. We found some big schools.
Yeah,
we were having a tough time getting them to hit, but we found some big schools. They're starting to form. And the water temperature the other day was 63 degrees, something like that, 64. And I even put on the Demiki and I dropped down there and caught a solid spot.
Yeah.
But it just hadn't got there yet.
So I put in with you Tuesday when I did my live fishing.
Best backup man in the game.
He is. He's great at it. He is fantastic about it. So Tuesday I fished and the rest, because he said how the rest of the day go after the broadcast dropped off. So I ended up catching 3 more fish on a red rock crawler. So it's the same one. When the sun got up a little bit better, it seemed like some of those fish, after I turned the camera off, I stuck a couple of two solid 2-pound fish. The problem was Tuesday was what you saw was the first fish I caught was probably about a 2.5 pounder, but then the rest of them that I caught on camera, one of them was this big. And then the rest of them are just 14, 15 inch long, pound and a quarter fish. And it was hard to find the quality. So between me fishing by myself Tuesday and then you and Earl fishing, we talked about it because we talked that night. We put about 19 or 20 in the boat between the two of us because y'all caught 12 or 13.
Yeah, something like that.
So, you know, that's between two guys out there. And then you talked to Jimbo also.
Yeah, Jimbo was struggling. He actually asked me what I was doing.
Yeah.
And we do that. You know, there's a group of guys that actually talk to each other. And you know, because, you know, we're all in the same business.
Yeah.
You know, and they, and then there's, you know, a few that just aren't in it, aren't in that group. And, but I mean, he called me because he was struggling that day hard.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
And he was south, right?
And he was south.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of that has to do with the topwater bite is, you know, I don't know if it's good there or not down there. I know Jimbo thinks that by the end of October every year, regardless, the topwater bite goes away.
I kind of agree with him.
And
on
so,
that. It gets tough.
And that's what he said. He started having some real tough days and wanted. So, I tell you, I'm looking forward to the winter bite, the ditch bite, the late fall and ditch bite. Because I mean, Earl's been out there, and I've had a lot of clients out there with me that, boy, I can find some big schools, and when I find them, we hammer them.
Yeah. So with that being said, already we got a good question right there from we got a couple of good questions. We'll hit this one first. Paul from Buddha, Nathan Dong. He says, with the lake being down so much, does that affect your bite at all, or does it make it better?
Actually, I like it better, Nathan. The reason is there's less water in the lake, and you know, they still get in the same ditches. They just might not be as deep. Sometimes they move out, but it's just, you know, less water to fish.
Yeah, they got less place to spread out.
That's right. So it isolates them a little better, and it's I like it when they're pulling the water down. It's pushing them out.
Yes,
but
they're going to start stacking.
You know, that's
up like
something
firewood.
about and when you start talking about water release. You know, come December, November. Once that water, today we saw some bad water. We saw some water. We were running through that gunk and bubbles and everything else for a while.
It's bad in the mouth of Yellow Creek.
Yeah, and we started searching some cleaner water. We found some cleaner water and caught some fish in it. But the as soon as that's over and those fish are all down, that happens in November. You can get on some but November and December they're really eating. They're really eating, trying to fatten up and get ready for the winter bite.
Yeah.
And boy, you can really catch them.
Oh yeah, you can have some 30, 40, even 50 fish days if you find the right places that's got them stacked up really good. So would you agree with that, Earl?
I will agree. That happened to us a couple of years ago.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
I would agree.
Would agree.
But, you know, talking two different things. I mean, you go after the schools and you go after individual bites most of the time. So it's kind of a different mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of two ways maybe to look at it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going out, do you have the time to go locate those big schools, or are you comfortable running bank for bites rather than
right.
So
I agree with that. Being the way that you like to fish, particularly though, and with one of the and I'll say it like this, one of the draws that gets you a lot of your business is the fact that in the wintertime, especially as we're approaching now, two people step on front of your boat or one person will step on your boat with you. And when it's on, when your bite is on, they can expect to catch fish until they're about sick and tired of it.
Yeah, catch some big ones.
Yeah. Catch everything from little fish all the way up to 5-pounders.
When we go over it with the sonar,
yes,
there's only one or two. You might see one or two, and there's something I teach on sonar trips on the mentality, what you have to be thinking.
Yeah,
you know, when you see two fish on the screen, and it's fall and winter. If I see two fish on the screen and I confirm them on my imaging, the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, because it really prints in one dimension. So the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, well, there's two men in front of me. Both of them have 100 men right behind them. But when I'm looking at them, I can only see those two.
Yeah.
But if
you
I
guys
got
pay attention to this.
But when I get over the top of them, I can see more.
Yes.
So if I'm only seeing a couple of fish on the screen, right, and I confirm I see them on my 2D, I confirm them on my imaging. the first thing I do is I turn back around and get on the front of the boat, because I know they're not just two by themselves sitting out there.
Yeah.
In that ditch, around that bait. We get back over the top of them, and there's a video out there on YouTube. Go to Jim Farmer's page, or it's on Lanier Baits too, isn't it, Corey? Okay, the video is I was out with Lisa Farmer and Jim Farmer. Jim wanted me to teach Lisa how to demiki. This was last December.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
And you go, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
You go out and you can see the left of the screen. When we first started putting down the left of the screen, it looks like just the bottom. As soon as the demikis got down there, all of a sudden the whole bottom of the lake came up with a huge school of fish. We caught them, and then they went right back down. And we got those fish in, and we dropped back down. Same thing happened. But when we were going over it, and I showed Jim this, when we were going over it, I only saw those two fish. There was two on 2D and two on the imaging. But my mentality was, you have to look at it that way, because when the screen is scrolling like that, it's not going to show you all the fish that's laying on the bottom.
No.
It's going to show you one or two. You have to think to yourself, okay, is that two fish? Or if I get over the top of it and look down, will I see a school of fish?
Yeah.
And I wish they had a damn transducer that did that. Holy smokes, that'd be a killer.
It might be in the future.
That might be a killer, yeah.
It might be in the future. So,
but that's how you have to do. You have to start thinking to yourself, this time of year, schooling up, they're going to be more than two fish.
Yeah. So scroll back up there for a second, real Paul, just a little bit. We had a question about a tournament. That's
My
fine.
bad.
You can throw that in the floor. Keeps going back up. Oh, there it is, right up there. Dylan Johnson. Dylan Johnson, you met him at the South for South at the seminar. What's his phone?
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you what his name. Who is it this time? It better be the president.
Turning it off.
Guys,
It was Joe. It was
look at me, Paul.
Grant Kessler's mother.
Look at me, Paul. Look at me, Paul. This guy's sitting here talking technology, and he don't even know how to run his phone.
I had the ringer off. I thought I turned off the media volume.
Oh Lord! So Dylan Johnson, wonderful young angler and a friend of the show.
And we just did his boat. We had thank you, Dylan.
You did. I got a tournament this Saturday. Any suggestions? I've got a few things in the back of my mind. What do you want?
I would be mid lake and down, because I don't know the shallow water. I'd be mid lake and down, and I'd be looking for brush piles and channel ledge and stuff like that going into creeks.
Yeah. There's still,
the water's just too warm still.
It is. There's still a lot of fish that I seen Sunday, and then I seen Tuesday, and
up north.
Sunday I fished kind of Chestatee Bay area, but then Tuesday I fished up north. There are still some places that there's still a lot of fish relating to brush. They may not be stuck in the brush. But some of them are suspended over some brush, and then some of them, the brush pile is here, but they're over here chasing a ball of herring around over here somewhere off to the side, and they're still kind of relating to brush piles, like what you said. They're still kind of in like a summer mode still,
basically.
So
there was a question up there from Derek O. LJ. Do I fish the scrounger this time of year? No, I don't. What I do fish, though, is our spy head. That's Earl's go-to. And Jimmy started fishing it the other day, and he caught two good fish on it.
Yeah.
Two real good fish. But it's this. That answers your question.
Well, pull that out right there, since you've already got that, since we're sitting there talking about that.
That is it.
That is
it's our demiki head with a prop on it like the front of a spy bait.
Yeah.
And the good part about it, you know how if you a lot of times you reel a underspin too fast or something too fast, they roll. These won't roll because they're weighted like a demiki with the weight down.
Right.
You can reel it as fast as you want to, and it comes just like straight as an arrow. And on this thing, just
you got a video up from Tuesday.
Oh yeah, with him catching
Tuesday. I was throwing the underspin and it kept rolling on me, and I got tired of it, and I switched over to that. And I think there is a video of me catching one.
Yeah, there's a video of you on Facebook. And you caught two on it the other day, or three?
Three. You
caught three, and they were some decent
and
fish.
then on the drop shot, I also had one.
There's one
there might be
thing.
a video on with that.
There's one thing that I want
That
to
was the last
say.
one of the day.
There's one thing that I want to say about Earl's the video that LJ made of Earl catching spyhead fish. And this is going to be something that I'm going to allude into this as we talk about this going forward. There was a comment, and you can see it in the video for a second. You stuck that spyhead fish, and it was probably about 2¼ pound, maybe somewhere around in there. Just a nice little solid healthy Lanier spot. They're everywhere like that. But that fish was spitting up some shad.
Yeah, it was.
It was spitting up 4-inch, 5-inch herring.
Yeah.
4 or 5 inch
herring. If it was shad.
No, it was herring. They were
big.
They were this long. I mean, they were thick. It was big herring.
I allude to that because
did you see it in the video?
Yeah, you can see it in the video,
right, okay.
and that's why I allude to that because in my video when I was live too, in the area where I found some of them actually coming up schooling. And those of you that watched the live or went back and watched it later, I found one sitting on the surface. I said, "Hey guys, look at this!" And I trolled right over there to it, and there was one. And I showed the camera, and it was a herring about that long.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 3.5 inches, 4 inches roughly long, and that seems like some of the fish when we're talking about moving into November and December. When you start finding the fish will start kind of feeding on herring and stuff that started getting bigger. They start getting off that smaller stuff and start getting on a little bit this bigger stuff in the early stages of the transition into the late fall, the ditch bite, basically. We might as well just say it like that. Would you agree?
I'd agree with that.
Okay, so
God, I can't wait for the ditch bite. The ditch bite,
me too.
guys. November, December, January, and February. I'm telling you, man, I get on some big schools.
So we got 2 more questions right here, real quick. Now, what we're going to hit real quick, and then we're going to get ready to pull up some pictures. We're going to try to pull up some pictures here. We got them. I got them downloaded. We're going to try to pull some up.
And I can explain them.
The first one is from Trip Fishing. I'll ask this. In my opinion, I'm going to read you this like it's a storybook because I know you're squinting.
I'll ask
I can't read it either.
I'll ask this in my opinion. Allatoona is fishing 100 times better than Lanier this fall. Why do you think that is? Typically, it is the opposite for me anyways. I'll answer it real quick from my opinion. And let's just go.
I've got 2 reasons.
You got 2 reasons. So my opinion is if you go back and look coming in August and what was happening in August on Allatoona, a lot of these fish on Allatoona have really started to discover the herring and the alewives.
That was one of them.
That they really started figuring out what the herring and the alewives
That
do.
was number 1.
So that's my opinion on a general opinion of mine that I think why Allatoona's been fishing so good. What is your other opinion though?
My other opinion is because the water's so far down.
Yeah,
what we talked about
Allatoona's
earlier.
about 20 foot down.
That's what I'm saying. So there's more fish and less water.
Yes.
So that's the other reason.
Okay. So that should maybe that'll answer your question, Trip Fishing. Stupid question from Joey Center. There is no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is one that you don't ask. Is it harder to keep a shaky head on the bottom when the lake is turning over?
No.
You both said that.
You're right. You were right, Joey.
Well, no, it wasn't really a stupid
I'm
question.
just playing around with you, dude. No, it's not. That has nothing to that. Nah. No. I tell you what, though, you see a whole bunch of crap in the water, though.
Yeah.
All the gas is escaping. It's just.
Gas we were escaping. Leaves, brown leaves are up on the surface.
Man, we were in some nasty water today.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Jeff, you got to get out of this.
Yeah. There's little pockets of it up the Chestatee right now where there's some clean water, but then you don't go too much farther up or down, depending upon which way you go. And then you'll find another pocket where there's just absolute crap water. Yeah. So
7 feet down.
So. Is it 7 feet down?
Yeah,
Tuna is 7.17 down low right now. So it's 3 feet. It's over 3 feet lower than Lanier is right now because Lanier's what, 4 something.
Think about it. That's a lot of water out of that lake.
That is a lot of water, and especially on Allatoona because Allatoona is so much smaller than Lanier. So I don't know exactly how many acreage it is, but I know Allatoona is a little bit smaller than Lanier.
Look at Nathan's comment.
I just saw that.
He ain't catching 20-pound sacks. Yeah, there's only a few people catching 20-pound sacks all the time they go out.
There is only a few of them. So Emil Wagner, he's definitely doing one.
Emil's a good kid too. Man.
I
remember I sent him a message the other day when he won that he won it or came in second. I said, just remember us little guys when you get big time.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
It was bad. Dylan said it was bad up near Laurel Park. Yes, absolutely. It will be bad right now up at Laurel Park, especially because of the amount of water that comes out of the Chattahoochee compared to the Chestatee. Am I getting older? They start drawing it down way early. They're early this year.
No rain.
No rain.
Yeah, it hadn't rained.
It hadn't rained hardly at all. I was excited the other night. I don't know about you, over towards our way, because you don't live very far from me now. We got a little shower, and the way they were explaining it on the radar and on the news that night, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a golly washer for about an hour." I think it rained for 20 minutes.
Yeah, we got 6 drops at our house.
You only live about 6 miles from me.
We got 6 drops.
You got slammed over in Gainesville
At Duckett Mill.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I wish we'd have got some of that. So, Jimmy Sanders says Ball Ridge wasn't that bad, but the fishing sucks. Well,
The boy Jimmy.
that's the way Jimmy. It is dropping every day right now. I guess he's talking about in terms of Altoona. Well, all the lakes are dropping right now. We think it's bad here. I went to Hartwell at the beginning of September, and Hartwell was already down. I think he said it was 7 feet. It was already down a pretty good bit. And I would assume that Hartwell's down even more than it is now than it was then. So, but we do need, that has been one of the things, not going to try to go back into summertime fishing, but that is one of the reasons too, why the all day long summertime topwater bite that we got to experience last year, why it's been pretty non-existent this year.
Well, last year there was no oxygen below 30 feet. The water was just a bad water.
Right.
And that's why everything, I mean, they were Jeff Blair and Clay Cunningham, 2 real good striper guys over on Lanier, told me they were actually free-lining herring over humps in the middle of summer. But the stripers were giving up the coolness for the oxygen.
Yeah.
You know, they could either sweat a little bit or not breathe.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd rather sweat. Would you agree?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was what was happening last year. So all the fish were 30 foot or less. That's why the jerk shad and the topwater bite and everything were so good last year.
Like I said earlier, Fork was down 7 foot a week ago, and Lake Travis is down 20 feet. Now,
LJ and
Paul, do you know what Notley is? Notley's pretty far down.
I looked at Raven
No.
the other day. They're just starting to pull it down.
I was like, Jeff and them went up to Blue Ridge yesterday. He said it was down.
Okay.
Who was that? Austin here
In
in Alabama and Coosa River. Dude, I had never fished the Coosa River, but I question for you. Is it a deep, clear lake, or are there a lot of channel ledges?
So,
Coosa says that'd be like Neely Henry.
yeah, so the Coosa is basically a chain.
Yeah,
sort
but
of
which
down
lakes
through
are in
there.
it?
So you got Neely Henry,
Logan Martin.
you got Logan Martin, and you've got Weiss. Those are probably the bigger ones that are on the Coosa River chain. And then, fishing in the actual river is very, very popular too, fishing in the Coosa. I know Matt Herron likes to fish in the Coosa River because it's just basically a river with a bunch of little sloughs and stuff that come off the side of it. But it is full of spots, the Coosa is, and they have the same species of spots that's in like Lanier. They have those Coosa River, Alabama style species of spots.
Right now, I'd follow the bait to find them, but as it cools down, I'd get into the deepest part in the ditches. And there's a way to if you run a Humminbird and know how to work your Lake Master, there's a way you can set up your Lake Master. It will show you every ditch in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be running and it'll show you every ditch out on the main lake, the hidden ditches, the obvious ditches. It shows you all of them.
Yeah.
But you got to learn how to set up your Lake Master.
If you run Humminbirds, and you do not have one, I would highly suggest getting in contact with LJ about getting a Lake Master chip. In all seriousness, it will turn your game around in terms of understanding contours and understanding depth before without having to drive to a specific spot. You can scroll down the lake or whatever, and you can say, oh, well, this is kind of what I'm fishing right now, and I'm catching some fish. So let's move on down to this one and see if we can't duplicate it.
Well,
right?
in November, something I do in November is when we're fishing and we're looking into ditches, out in the mouth of these creeks and out of the mouth of the ditches areas, if I see bait forming out on the, it can be, way out in the mouth of it. But if I see bait forming out there, I know that the bait ain't going to run all the way across the lake. And as the water cools, it's going to probably run into that ditch.
Right.
So I change my icon from a circle I use. I go into my unit and I turn it to a red plus sign. And I put the red plus sign basically at the mouth of that ditch, to where when I'm running down the lake, I can see all the plus. And what it does, it makes you more efficient.
Yes.
Now I know that there was bait in that thing, so I'm going to look in that ditch, even if it's got a Y, where two ditches split. I'm going to look. I say, look, they ran into one of those two ditches, or they ran into that ditch.
100%.
So it saves you a heck of a lot of time of cruising 500 ditches.
So you're in the same belief that I have with that too. Hearing you say that, once the bait picks a creek or a ditch area to go into this time of year,
it's going to be there till March.
It's going to be there till March. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. So in terms of graphing and mapping, guys, that's a really good tip, because once you find them, you should stay. And you heard it from the man here himself.
And something early, they'll move up in the ditch into the shallow, going in shallow. Now, when I say shallow, I'm not talking about up in 5 and 6 foot. I'm talking about they'll move up into 20, 25 foot. Because they'll push the bait up there. The bait moves up there because that's the warmer water. Well, they'll move up the fish, and then the bait will move back out, and the fish will follow back out. So that morning you might be fishing 25 foot. But as the sun gets up and all, you'll see those fish. You'll see them disappear out of there, and all of a sudden you'll find the big schools back out in that water. And I mean, we're 45, 50 foot is what I'm talking about.
Have you ever pondered going back farther than that, though? Because I know, because let me say this,
dude, I don't like to get nervous.
Well, jeez. So let me reiterate with that being said, though, because you say like 20 foot is like shallow for you, but have you ever pondered maybe going back a little bit further? Because a lot of times for me, until we get later on into the winter, a lot of times I'll find them shallower than that.
Yeah. Now in November and early December or so, I'll go up shallower, and fish them. But as soon as December rolls around and I see that most of those fish and the bait is staying out, that's where we'll go there first thing in the morning and get on big schools. Yeah. I mean, I was out last year. I know Earl a couple of times, but I was out with Meadows, out with a guy named Raphael Raffy. And Raffy had to, Earl's done it before. Raffy had to sit down and said, what just happened? Yeah. For an hour and a half, we were just one right after another on a Demiki, and they were all, good fish. They were 2.5 to 4 pounds. We had on the one with Lisa, a farmer, Jim and Lisa Farmer. I had one close to 5 pounds in my hand, and I had just caught one prior to that. And Jim, that's what Jim said on the video. Said, hey, this is his second one, and they were. But when they start hitting that Demiki, if they stop hitting it, we put a drop shot down.
So we're going to go into that here. And as we start getting into that here now, we're going to start talking about that. Paul, while you do that, I want to hit up one of our fine sponsors, with Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. Dave and the guys down there, they're absolutely fantastic people. You can go down there on Buford Dam Road, 2595, Cumming, Georgia. Buford Dam Road. Call them at 706-429-7211. They have all. I know they got a restock today of some Sebilles, and they are Magic Swimmers. Excuse me, from Berkeley, not the LJ Lanier Baits Magic Hard Swimmers. Hard swimmers.
We're going to talk about those.
We're going to talk about those here in a minute. So, but the guys, Dave and them, Alan, they're great guys down there. They sell live bait. They have some. They keep the bait good. I think they get it from a one certain supplier that is the same as Harmon's too. So they're getting the same size. They have shad, they have herring, and then at some point they get trout and stuff like that. So, but they've got a fine selection of stuff. Go down there, go hit Dave and the guys, and hit them up and do some business with them. They're fantastic. Are you guys in Buford Dam?
We had some stuff over there, but Dave hadn't called me lately. I guess he's mad at me about something.
Oh well, Lord, we want to fix that.
He's mad at me.
We're gonna have to fix that up. So, but yeah, guys, we appreciate Buford Dam Bait and Tackle and their support. Again, go see them. Go see them at 2595 Buford Dam Road, Cumming, Georgia 30041. They are very easy to find, and they're right there, right on the lake, basically. So, wouldn't you agree, Paul?
Right up the road from Little Ridge Boat Ramp.
Right up the road from Little Ridge Boat Ramp.
Still open.
So
still free.
And the little store next door has some of the best breakfast burritos you ever put in your mouth.
They're good.
So
I missed the biscuit guy, but the breakfast videos are
so before you go fishing, go to Buford Dam Bait and Tackle, get what you need there beforehand. And then they have their new hours also. I believe it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Sunday. So with that being said, we appreciate Buford Dam Tackle.
Can you scroll up? Jeremiah asked a question a second ago.
Jeremiah asked a question about, have you ever caught a fish, a striper on a drop shot? You want to answer that real quick?
Yeah, I've got a funny story about that, actually.
Tell it away.
So I've caught them on years ago. There was a company called Lanier Baits that I was designing colors and designs for. Mm-hmm. And Wacom was a local company up in Athens, mm-hmm. and they're very popular. But they came out with a little mad minnow. Mm-hmm. It was a little, so I saw some fish in this ditch, and there were some big fish. Mm-hmm. And I was out with the owner, Phil Knight, I can't remember Phil's last name now. I was out with Phil Hamrick. I was out with Phil, basically fishing, mm-hmm. and it was.
Is that all you're doing?
It was like January. Yeah, that's what I was doing. It was like January, right? So I see these fish on the bottom. They're big fish. Mm-hmm. I can tell. And I can't get them to hit. So I reeled up that I was fishing a little Mad Minute because during the winter months, I go to a smaller bait, mm-hmm. And so when I reeled up about 2 or 3 reel handles, got about 5 feet off the bottom, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden the whole bottom of the lake came up, mm-hmm. and he hit it. And when he hit it, it was a big striper. I mean, a big one. Mm-hmm. And he just turned and started going straight out to the main lake. And just my spinning rod was, so I started getting it on the trolling motor, right?
Kicked it up to 10.
Kicked it up to 10. I was following this thing and kind of reeled. And I said, Phil, I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need some help. And I turned around and looked, and he was getting on his phone. I said, what in the hell are you doing? He said, I'm calling the DNR. I know this is a lake record spot. Jeez. And I said, dude, this ain't no spot.
It's heading to deep water.
The sucker's pulling the boat.
I know. There ain't no spot.
Oh, that was so funny. He said, because he caught it on a Mad Minnow. He says, I'm going to call him and tell him you caught the lake record spot on a Mad Minnow from Wacom Baits.
All right. So you got a couple questions right here as Paul gets ready. You got it on present mode. Yeah, go to present and go to share screen.
What is that thing?
And then you're going to go to window, and then you're going to be able to right there Livewell picture, so you'll be able to share it right there. And as you pull them up,
LJ, what's you say? LJ, what are dadgummit? What did Templeton just ask?
Do what now?
I got 2 questions.
Well, hold on one second. As we're getting that out, okay. We're getting that out of the way. So, so as you click on that next screen right there, Paul, the next one over right there. Okay, so you got it removed, or you got it on there. So there we are right there. We've got it full blown up. So when you go to pull on that other picture, maybe you might have to remove that and pull that back up again, share screen. Pull that picture back up just like you had it. Now go back over here and then remove that one and then share screen. So stop screen right there. Now go back to present, share screen. And now window, and now you can click on the actual picture there. I got. So there you go, Paul. So now you can see it really good there, guys. So the first question. So will you be able to answer some of these questions?
Yeah.
Off of this particular slide picture?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question
What do
is,
you run on Demiki?
what are you running on the Demiki rig? I was getting that. He
All
said
right.
a Kitech type swimmer. I can answer that question. No. And he is going to show you right now how he pulls this up.
All right. I've got two of them. First of all, the Pee-wee that we sell is a tricolor worm, and that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And I can cut this down if I need to. I can cut it down to 3. This is about basically 3.5 inches, 3 inches. I can cut it down to 2 inches if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
But you would be surprised. This is a 3/8 ounce Demiki head, and it sits in the water just like that. It just sits straight in the water. I'm trying to get it where y'all can do it. See it? It sits straight in the water like this. The tail is up. And the object of fishing this thing is to not move it. Try to keep it still. Yeah, you can shake it a little bit. I'm trying to keep it still now, and I can't because of my nerves. Well, wave action and everything else will give this action. And then just every now and then just lift it up 2 or 3 feet and set it back down. But the Pee-wee I use, and then I take one of our swimmers. Our 3.5 swimmers. I cut the head off right here, and then on the boot tail, I just kind of pinch it, and I cut it right there to leave just a little bit of that V on there. And what that does, it gives me about a 2.5 inch bait that it just sits in the water just like that. Just sit it down there. Mm-hmm. And that thing is, Earl will tell you, that thing, I think Jimmy will tell you too, that thing is a deadly killer.
It works.
We have that new test one.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a test one, huh?
What's the new test one you talking about?
I want to know what this rocket ship is.
With the air in the tail, the white.
Oh yeah, well I didn't bring any of those. We are working on one.
What is that rocket ship right there?
I'll get to that one.
Or jet ski.
I'll get to that one. We are testing one, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but Earl looked at it yesterday in the water, and he's like, I love this thing. This thing's good. It's pretty sweet, but we hadn't got there yet on it.
Home improvement style.
But that's what I run on my Demiki head.
So
LJ Helix. Oh,
LJ Helix 10 2D max depth set at 40 feet. Once depth is deeper than 40, the depth does to dashes. It goes to dashes. If I switch to DI or SA, mine will continue to show depth deeper than the max depth. Is that normal?
It'll continue to show depth deeper.
Oh, I've seen that thing already.
Scotty, that doesn't sound normal.
Oh yeah, I showed it.
You might want to restore your system and make sure that it's updated. But I don't max depth. Yeah.
I don't like it. Do you set your max? Do you set your depth?
Yeah.
You do set your
depth? Yeah. My dash units are set max depth at 150 feet. That way it only shoots a beam down 150 feet and comes up. Mm-hmm. If I'm in 200 foot of water, it's still going to just show me 150 foot. Mm-hmm. Well, so that now your unit isn't wasting power and looking for deeper water, right? And then on
the image too,
yes, and then on my front unit, I have it set at 75 foot because I'll fish 60 foot in the wintertime and all. But when you go into your max depth though in your sonar screen. I mean, not my lower into your, if you're on your sonar, you hit it, has upper level, lower level, upper limit, lower limit, right? I always use manual. I never use, automatic. The reason is that sometimes you come out of deeper water to shallower water and you only got half your screen sitting there. That make any sense?
Yeah.
So if I know that I'm going to be fishing, like in the wintertime, I normally set my my lower depth at 50 foot for my 2D. Go ahead.
And then you get rid of the top.
Yeah, that's on the imaging
because of the all the boat traffic and the water noise. And
so I'll put my like surface clutter on 5 to 7, but then on my 2D unit I set it and I leave it full screen, right? Upper limit 0, bottom limit say 50. On my imaging screen, I'll take out the first probably 15, 20 feet
Okay.
Set it the same. Now I've got a zoomed in version between 15, 20 feet down to 50 feet, 45 feet, whatever I do. Now I don't have to scroll. You know how sometimes you scroll over and hit your button and it zooms it in, what they do on a hummingbird. You don't have to do that. But I can still see the water column on the 2D. There's a video. Corey did a video with me. It's on our YouTube page, Lanier Baits YouTube page, where I explain that.
Okay. All right. So let's answer Scratch Fishing's question right here about the Demiki. Let's answer this question while Paul pulls up the graph here. So that way, maybe you can kind of answer this question.
Same one we had a minute ago, or you want to do?
Maybe you can answer
What is
this
that?
question.
Is that
Stop a few feet from the bottom or hit the bottom with it and hold.
Yeah. No, I normally stop it.
Stop it above the
fish. Yeah, I normally 5 to 7 feet off the bottom, or above the fish. There's been times when I've seen the fish down at 45, 50 foot of water, and I had clients with me, and we dropped down with a Demiki, and they would go down, and I'd have them stop about 10 foot off the bottom, and I would stop maybe 20 foot down.
Okay.
I've seen fish come up and hit theirs, and then I've seen fish go right by theirs and go all the way up and hit mine that were way up in the water column. A fish's eyesight in water is 8 times better than a human. That's what science tells us.
Okay.
They can see it, and if they can see that bait from 45 feet, and you think that, you're in 45, 50 foot of water, and you've suspended something 25 foot up, right? 25 foot it ain't that far.
No, it was really not.
So they're not, it's not like it's perception.
Yes.
It's not like you're looking, a half mile down the road.
It's only been a little bit longer than your boat. Really.
Yeah.
That's what I tell
That's
people
about
all
right.
the time. If you're in 25 feet of water or 30 feet of water, and I'll take it and I'll be standing on front of my boat. My boat's 21 foot long, and you're standing on the back deck of my boat. I say, turn around, look at my motor, and then turn up here and look at me, and then I'll take the bait and I'll just throw it out there about 10 feet in front of the boat. I said, that's all that's right here underneath the boat. That's the only distance. So if you take that and turn the boat vertical and then take that little flip that I did out in front of my boat, then that's how deep you are.
It's not as
really
deep as you
think.
Yeah, it's a perception issue.
I always tell people depth is just a number.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't get too caught up and too tore up about it. So Paul.
Hey, Britton and Steve.
All right, yeah. So he asked a question about what color worm for drops or for different times of the year.
When they get deep, blues and pinks. That's my go-to. And there's that on that video with Farmer and Lisa. We were catching on the Demiki, about 48 foot deep. They slowed down on the Demiki, so Lisa and I picked up the drop shot with Sweet Rosie on it. And as soon as we dropped down, we immediately started catching them again.
Okay. All right.
So Sweet Rosie's got blue flake in it. And, we've talked about light refraction and the colors. But blues,
purple,
anything with blues, purples, or a chartreusey green down that deep, down 40 feet or more, those are the 3 that keep the characteristics. It could be blue flake. It could be purple flake. It could be a blue worm, whatever. That might be why blue lily is so good. It's got a blue top, but it's got purple flake.
Okay.
So we got a combination there.
Now I fished with Steve as Paul gets these pictures, starts pulling these pictures up on share screen.
I'm ready with it.
So when I will say this real comment, Steve, when me and him fished together on our live, Blue Lily done a lot of the damage for you with the drop shot.
It did kind of once the sun came out.
Yes.
Things got brighter. Clouds moved off, but
But in the
early
low light
on,
conditions,
kinda
you were
when it
doing
was cloudy
Sweet
and
Rosie.
windy and some chop. I went with the Sweet Rosie.
Sweet Rosie on an overcast day in the wintertime.
Here's your tip.
It's tough to beat Sweet Rosie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to beat it. That worm just can't. Oh, and Morning Dawn, but for some reason, Sweet Rosie they just eat it.
Okay, so you ready, Paul?
When you are, which one of these you want first?
Let's pull up the first one.
Well, do you have the one on there? Do you have the one where it was just a mapping where it was like a screenshot of a ditch?
I took every single one that you
Hang
gave
on, let's
me.
just see if that one right
That
there.
one right there. So let's do that one.
All right.
me a second.
You're good, Paul. No worries.
Damn, that's a good looking dude. Who is that?
I don't know. You just broke the camera, though, Jay.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fine.
No, it's going to be on that one.
All right. So what are you about to show us?
The ditch. I want to show something because this is something I found through the
There
years.
you go.
There you go.
All right. You notice on this one, this is something I presented at the Jimbo seminar.
You can go bigger, Paul, if you want to.
Yeah, you don't need to see me. I'm good looking, guys, so y'all don't need to see me. Damn, I got small.
There we go.
I ain't never been that low.
You said you didn't care, but I see
All right, so
that one you're gonna be able to explain it because
All
at
right.
least you can see it.
one of the things that at certain times of the year, the wind is your friend. In wintertime, the wind is the wind and current.
Mhm.
All right. In wintertime, when the water gets below 60 degrees and starts getting down, and the metabolism of the bass starts slowing down a little bit,
Mhm.
They do not want to fight the current.
Mhm.
When they're pulling water out of the lake during the winter, if they do pull water, if they pull water that day, like last winter, they pulled water a lot of times.
Mhm.
Fish do not like, especially spots, do not like current in the wintertime. Summertime, it turns them on. The wintertime, they're having to exert energy,
Mhm.
right? So wind creates current too. So a lot of people think that going into ditches, going into a windy ditch, right? The bait's going to be pushed up in there, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, if there is finger ditches off of that,
Okay.
that's where you want to look for the bait
Okay.
and the fish. The reason is that the bait might get it pushed up in there, but you can see that it says calm ditch.
Mhm.
So the wind is blowing and then it's a little calm right there. That is the juice.
The juice.
The juice. That's where the bait's going to be. Have you ever heard of fishing the line?
I haven't
All right,
heard
fishing
that.
the line is when you're on a point, right?
Okay.
The wind is blowing.
Mhm.
The wind only blows to a certain point, and then it forms a line where it gets to the lee side.
Mhm.
Right, that's the line.
Okay.
You sit in the lee side, sit in the calm side, and you can cast out into the wind, and then work it because those fish are going to be sitting right along that area, waiting for bait or what have you to come pushed around.
So you have that's a fancy word for my redneck terminology of breaking the wind.
The break.
That's where I got the one the other day.
Yeah, that's where he got one the other day.
On
The
the
break.
spy head.
Yeah, that is
Oh, okay.
redneck terminology there.
Yeah, that's the way I do.
that-
That's the way I
It
do
was on the calm side of the point. The wind was blowing this way, and it was calm here, and I threw the spy head at it.
Okay. Listen to him. Or he's
But-
like, I catch big fish.
But
No,
some
I
of the best ditches have ledges on them. They have a steep part.
Okay.
And the reason is the bass can position themselves in one certain area,
Mhm.
and it's easy for them if it's a real warm, sunny day in the wintertime, and the water temperature starts getting up, the warmth, they can just ease up.
Okay.
They don't have to swim a long way to get into warmer water. They can just ease up in the water column, and you'll see a lot of suspended fish.
Okay. All right. So which one do you want to go to next?
It don't matter now. Now that they know what a ditch is.
console thing.
Do what now?
Jason,
Oh yeah. So real quick before we get into that one, Paul, real quick, pull up Jason Glaze. I have to put my console unit in sleep mode or it disturbs my front unit. What setting fixes that?
Nothing. Anytime you if you're at the dash, make sure the bow is in standby. That way you're not wasting your screen, you're not eating up your screen and time on your screen, and you're not basically working the transducer out of water so you don't blow your crystals. When you get up front to fish, put the dash unit on them. Now, if somebody wants to use the sonars, in the back, don't turn them on to get distortion. All you got to do is, if they're linked together, all you got to do is put the transducer that the front unit's on the back one, and you're mirroring it, just like you're doing with a laptop and a bigger screen.
Yeah.
You're just mirroring it, and then they can see exactly what you're looking at. It's
Okay.
just a copy of it.
Okay. Maybe that'll answer Jason's question.
Isn't he related to Danny
That
Pruitt?
is Danny's cousin and fishing partner.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Poor guy. Poor guy. So let's see here. So Paul, just pull up I don't know, just pick one and pull it up, and we're gonna let LJ kind of go through a couple of these slides here.
Oh, that's a good one right there.
Go ahead. Let's let Paul do his finagling on that one to get it pulled up. So we'll put it on standby. Yeah. Finagling. That's a good word.
Can we spell that?
FENAGGLING. Finagling. I don't know. Denny Nagel?
Denny Nagelin.
I'm still sore about Mike Hampton paying him $18 million for him to have 2 shoulder surgeries.
All right, this is a perfect example. The picture on the screen is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier with Lisa and Jim Farmer. If you look to the far left of the screen, that's the oldest part of the picture, right? Mm-hmm. It looks like there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, a whole big school comes up. And then look to the right of the screen, you see they went right back down. And by the time it gets all the way to the right, they look like they've disappeared again. Mm-hmm. And those are the fish I was talking about earlier where you see 2. Mm-hmm. That's what ends up being there.
Okay.
And we've called
a visual representation of that.
That's right. Yeah. And we catch them. When I say they're right on the bottom, we were catching fish last year and the last several years. It happened a lot of times, but you'll be catching fish out of that real deep 45, 50 foot of water. Mm-hmm. And we actually caught them and they had little clumps of clay on their belly.
Yeah. They would be
right on the bottom.
They will get that close to
now,
the bottom.
In November and December, the same thing happens, except the fish are really aggressive. Right. And Earl and I have got on, you asked about these before we get there. We've got them on with a spoon. We had one spoon. I had my one spoon. It was a Flexic. Mm-hmm. And we caught so many fish on it that the prism on the sides had been completely wore off. Mm. There were so many. It was a slugfest, one right after another.
That's fun fishing. I've never heard anybody say that they did not enjoy finding a school like that and dropping spoons on them, just one after the other.
That was over 50 in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, if you complain about catching 50 on a spoon like that in 2.5 hours, let me tell you something. You need to find another hobby. Maybe take up golf. If you look at our TikTok, you'll see how great at golf Danny is.
That was the day that we went out scouting, and 2.5 hours in, I said, "That's it. I'm all done."
Yeah.
Okay.
He's done.
And he goes, "Oh, I got to save these for my client tomorrow." I said, "That's fine." I said, "I'm wiped out." I said, "I'm just going to sit here now."
I was tired.
Yeah, but one of the keys I do is on overcast days.
Yes, I was.
On overcast days, you want a solid spoon. Mm-hmm. But on sunny days, you want something that shines, a silver spoon, basically.
Okay.
Well, what I do is, if you look at my spoons, Paul, can you zoom in on these? I don't know if you can get those or not. All right, but you see the little prism. You see the little prism stickers on the little prism decals.
You can see that one in your left hand there for a
little
second.
prism.
Here, let Earl pull them up. Right, put it up right there. Ooh, there's a prism.
You see it? All right. What I do is my favorite colors.
That's right there.
My favorite colors is white, pearlescent with silver, and then or the blue. Because blue is great down deep.
Yeah.
Well, I only put these are actually spinnerbait blade not decals. What do you call them things? Just stickers, prisms, stickers.
Stickers.
That's all they are.
He did say it.
That's all they are. But you notice you only need a little reflection, right?
The other one.
You just need a little reflection on them. Okay. And what that does is now people, when say you're out fishing, and it's an overcast day, you still got plenty of white on there. And then if it's sunny, the sun comes out good, you're not sitting there changing spoons. You don't have to.
Right.
You got it. Well, and then you asked me about this one.
Yeah.
All right. This is a Rapala, basically dart and shad. Yeah. It's an ice fishing. You didn't have to say that, you northerner.
Hey.
So
Rhode Island.
All right, y'all get a pic. You got a picture of this? Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right, but you see this little tail right here?
Looks like a
little plastic tail,
That's
and it's
Russian,
basically
right?
a darter.
It's a Russian bait.
And what? Yeah, it's a Russian bait. What it does is when you're sitting there and you fish it just like a spoon, you just lift it up, and what happens with that tail? It'll dart off like that, and then come back down, and then all of a sudden it dart off over here. You know, it just depends on which way it wants to go that time. So it's real erratic. Let me tell you something. When those fish are right on the bottom, and you can't get them to hit a regular spoon, this thing is killer. You put it right above their head, and you do that.
I see Pinkston's eyes over there. He's just grinning.
You
I guess, do you have experience with that?
I don't, but it looks like all you gotta do is like snag them in the head.
Well, you
There's hooks right there.
Hey, you hope that you hook them on these hooks, because if you get them on that little treble, you got to take your time.
It seems like you just throw it out there and rip it through them, and you got
that thing is killer. This thing is killer. I was with a guy. From like Dallas. Like I was with a guy and a couple of guys from Douglasville, Georgia. Right.
Okay.
We pulled up into one ditch, and they were dropping that.
Snag them in the
And
head.
I was just sitting there watching them. I was fishing a regular spoon.
Bring it over a little more. Other way.
Other way.
There you go. Right.
But you can see the tail of it, how it kind of's got a little fin on it.
Though.
Yeah, it's got a little.
Still trying to focus on it.
It's got a little fin on it.
Yeah,
You
it's
see
still
it?
trying to focus on LJ. I think it's too small. Hot dogs. Hot dogs for fingers.
Famous.
No, he
Famous.
likes a hot link wiener.
He likes a what?
That's what he calls them. What do you call them? Hot wieners.
Hot wieners. Look at him. He's like, I'm trying to make it where it'll stick out.
But it's a Rapala, basically
Australia.
little dart,
Anyways,
G'day.
a little dart jigging.
Hot
wieners.
Yeah.
But this thing is deadly.
I'll take you down and get some bad Monday, mate.
Now, one guy that was with me, he actually put a bigger split ring and a bigger treble on it.
Okay.
But this thing, the way it reacts down there, they were smashing it.
Okay. So we got a couple of questions that have popped up here since we've been talking about ditches now. So the first one that I want to hit up in is Jeremiah. Do ditches have to have cover like treetops, or does it have to be the structural change itself?
No, a ditch doesn't have the bait becomes the structure, because the bait becomes the fish.
Yes.
I mean, becomes the cover, or whatever you want to call it, the structure.
That's what they relate to.
That's what they're relating to. It can be a solid, not a single twig on it, but it's stacked with bait. There's going to be a bunch of fish in it.
A lot of the really good ones are nothing, and then there's like a slight change in the depth, like a slight little 2-foot break or something down there. Those are some of the juicy ones.
Little ditches. I've seen fit. There's one place I fish at the mouth of 4 Mile that it's just I think it's just a couple of stumps, but boy, the fish get on those when they come up and they get in that ditch. They pull in there and they just sit on that stump. You can fish everywhere around there, and not see a fish. You pull right up on that stump and it's loaded.
Okay.
I mean, Jimmy and I were out. Meadows and I were out last year, and I had told him. I said, "Look, yesterday they were either right here on this little brush, this small brush with a ledge, or they're on that one." And we were going between two docks that are in a narrow part of a creek that was, I don't know, 35 foot deep in November, I believe it was, November, December. And Jimmy crushed them on a spoon.
Okay. All right.
I didn't catch that many on a spoon. I caught a few on a drop shot and a few on a spoon, but he crushed them.
All right. So Michael Temples, go up just a hair there, Paul. Go back up to
LJ.
Yes, that one. LJ. How would you tell a new fisherman to find ditches? Study maps or spend hours graphing on the lake?
Okay.
First, get a
Both.
Lake Master.
First, you need a Lake Master chip. And the way I set up my Lake Master, guys, get your pencils ready. When the wintertime comes and I set it up to find the ditches on my mapping, you can go in there and you can set your upper limit and your lower limit. I set my upper limit at 35 feet, my lower limit at 55 or 60 feet. And what that does, it would draw up every ditch in that lake. It could be out in the middle of the lake and just a hidden ditch, and you'll find it. It shows it to you.
Okay.
And that's how you find.
So Paul just pulled this up right here.
You're in the ditch now on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I'm in the ditch now.
he pulled that picture back up. So you can see that currently on this, when this picture was taken, LJ, the boat was sitting in 38.2 feet of water. I can't really
And you can see
much
right down the
anything else
middle.
after that, but it was 62-degree water temperature.
That was the other day.
So that was the other day.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if you have a Lake Master chip, a lot of people already do, and you set your range from 20 to 30 hypothetically, you just got a line going across around it, right?
Mhm.
When you do it like I just told you, now it forms the whole ditch, and even the little finger ditches that come off
Yeah.
of that main ditch.
Okay. So what you're seeing that is in that green area.
That's
so
right.
you can see where LJ's trail was with the boat, where he was actually in the ditch, and you can see where he was using his electronics, and he was going around the ditch there, making little circles and semicircles throughout there as he found where he was looking for, probably looking for the little the 2-person mirror thing.
You'll see the blue of
Yeah.
the deeper water, then it kind of starts going into the green,
Yeah.
and that's where
your ditch is.
And the reason I
you might have another picture.
the reason I do that's probably there's several in there. There's the reason they're just because they're in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
Time of day, like in the morning, they might be up seeing 38 foot. That was probably, what time was it?
It was 10:30, I think.
10:30.
Mhm.
See, they'd already started pulling back out.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier they might have been up in 28 foot of water.
Okay.
The bait might have 25, and then they pulled back out.
Okay.
And I mean, we would, but 62 degrees. That's probably right because it hadn't got down into the 50s yet. When if it was in the 50s, it'd been 48 feet.
Okay. All right. So Dylan Johnson, young angler, he wants to know, I'm still learning, where is the best place to find ditches like areas on the lake in terms of locations? I'll go ahead and tell you right
Go
now.
ahead.
They're everywhere. They are everywhere.
Every
cut.
creek and cut
Mm-hmm.
you go into is going to have finger ditches coming, especially hypothetically. Let's say you run into Long Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Long Hollow's in Chesapeake Bay.
Yep.
You run into Long Hollow, it's got a big ditch going, the main ditch, but then it's got a ditch that goes off to the left. It's got a finger ditch goes off to the right. Then it splits down there, and you got 2 more ditches that come off of it, 2 more finger ditches. I mean, you could probably, well, we were in that. I mean, that was one of the places
That's where we hit the 50.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
was one of the places. I just ride around the ditches and find out. Most of the time, I like where a finger ditch hits a main ditch.
Mm-hmm.
That there's just something about that little intersection.
I think it's like a highway type deal.
It
like
might-
what you
could
just
be.
said, it's like an intersection type deal.
There's just something about that little intersection right there that they like. They get on it.
Yeah. Probably to a certain extent is like it was maybe the where the finger comes off. Do you seem to, man, we're going to be giving away some juice on this. Do you seem to find it, and this is in my experience, do you find times where you have a finger ditch to where it kind of makes a deep underwater point right there?
Yeah,
And it seems like that little point area
That's
is
what
where
I'm
the fish are at.
that's what I'm talking about. Where those two meet,
Yeah.
that little point right there, that intersection,
Yeah.
that's the
That's the place.
that's the place.
That's the place where.
Yeah, they might move up in one of those ditches,
Mhm.
but by the time the sun gets up good, they're going to be back in that.
I got a
Earl's,
question.
Earl's like smoke break.
Uh-oh.
I got a
Kingston has a question.
Lover Boy's got a question.
What if somebody's not a ditch guy or gal? What are some other options with your baits?
You can fish the timberline. You can fish I know
I mean,
not
what if somebody doesn't have hummingbird or really that great with their hummingbird, don't have
fish-
them tweaked and set up and wants to go catch
can-
a fish on your stuff
you can
this
fish.
time of year or in the wintertime? What are some other options?
You can throw a shaky head up on rocky areas, especially if it's deep rock, because it goes back to what I was explaining that. Like Bayless Creek, for instance, that back in the back of Bayless has that lead, that steep rock going down, right?
That bluff.
That bluff, yeah. They can sit somewhere on that bluff. And the reason I know that is because I put 2 brush piles back there and we were just killing them on it. But they can sit deeper, and if it's warmer water, the sun's out good and all, those rocks heat up, they can ease up on it. A bluff wall in the wintertime is a great place. A deep point, a point with a ledge on it, something that, where it really falls off.
Mhm.
That's a good place. Whereas the For instance, like in the summertime, when you see a point coming out and has a ledge on it, you can see suspended spots sitting off of that, about the depth of that where that drop is. They'll be sitting there. In the wintertime, they'll just be at the foot of it right down here, and they come up and down. That's what.
Now, is that something that somebody could do a good drop shot on? As
Oh,
well,
yeah.
or?
Oh yeah, and I think there's a picture in here. I put one up the other day. I said a perfect example of what I talk about on sonar trips about where the dead zone is on the 2D, and that's imaging. So
let me try to find that here. As Paul will probably try to look for it.
Well,
let me ask you this though, in terms of to piggyback off before you get into that.
Nope.
Let me piggyback off of Pinkston's question here. What about in terms of visual aspects of fishing? So let's say this for right now, currently on Lanier. And all of us here at Fish North Georgia take pride in the fact that we like to give you guys information to become better anglers. LJ is one of them as well. He likes to give out, his fishing reports that he gives out. He gives out some information on them and what to do, what to look for free. And I will tell you this. As the lake's coming down, road beds start to become a little bit more visible. Road beds in the winter are great.
The problem is a lot of people don't know how to find the road bed.
Right. But that's why I was alluding to the fact that now that the lake is starting to come down, as the lake, which it most likely will probably continue to fall, wouldn't you? Probably agree. Would you agree, Steve? It's probably going to continue to fall.
Another 3 or 4 feet.
Unless we get a major crazy early snow or something. You can see there's several of them that you can see where the roadbed enters into the water. And you can get up there with your graph and you can zigzag across of it on your trolling motor. And
where it comes up flat and falls off.
Exactly.
There's always a ledge on a roadbed.
Yes.
Because of drainage. It could be a 50-foot ledge. It could be a 3-foot ledge.
Yeah. So maybe that was piggybacking off of your question.
Well, you hear a lot about ditches, and I think there's just a lot of people that maybe would like to have some other options that really don't have the time to go out and scout 3 or 4 days in the week or take people out. And, I'm going out on a Saturday. What can I do with your baits? What kind of things can I find quick without having to be so technical with my equipment? Well,
one thing you can do right now is you can fish any point and secondary point especially in November, with a shaky head. We have shaky heads. I call them shaky Ned because they stand straight up. With one of our we've got green pumpkin jade. We've got
I like GP pepper.
Yeah. We got green pumpkin pepper. We've got one of the killers is tomato crawl. The red tomato crawl. It's kind of red with brown on it. That's another one that it's really good.
Could you drop a Demiki around boat docks?
Oh yeah, walls. Deep bluff walls and deep 20 foot. No, if they're in 40 foot, yes. And the Demiki rig is, if they're not hitting a drop shot, the difference is I call it Demiki, and that's why it fits right along with my style of fishing. Is because I'm basically suspending a drop shot. Except I have a worm and a weight like that, and a lot of times they come up and hit the weight. The Demiki is just come down there and they come up and hit it.
Are you into instead of using a drop shot mortar style weight like you got, are you into taking your shaky Ned and putting it as your weight and putting a little worm on it?
No, we ain't got that advanced yet. But we take see ours. We have a 3/16 and an 1/8, and
those are wide.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something. Earl was with me. I took because the lake is full of Chattahoochee crawls, which are only about 3 inches long. We had some crawls that we used to. Do we have any more crawls, Corey?
Probably not up right now. We have.
Yeah, I might have to put them back up, but I put that on a shaky head. Fishing around rock, first cast, like a good fish with it.
Yeah,
it's just a little crawfish about that long. The difference was ours pinchers, and
resembling stars more than adult size crawfish.
What?
you're resembling an N-Star. And
What-
the form, and,
and they have bubbles in them.
they're little bitty. But the when N-Star phase of a crawfish, I'm gonna teach you
Oh,
something.
here we go. He's
my
talking jig
God.
fishing.
I'm about to teach you
Jig
something.
fishing. I don't know anything about jig fishing.
A juvenile.
So
craw.
N-Stars, there's 3 phases of the N-Star. You got your first N-Star, you got your second N-Star, you got your third N-Star, and then you have an adult crawfish. The adult crawfish is your atypical, like crawfish bowl looking crawfish. They got big claws. Now your N-Stars are like those little Chattahoochee crawls, like you're talking about. They have little bitty crawls, little bitty tiny crawls. And I remember that bait a couple of years ago. I remember when you were doing it. Somebody was sitting there with a paper plate at the dinner table, sitting there poking them. I remember that video years ago.
You had
That was the Spotaker.
I had it in a.
Wasn't that what it was called?
The spot taker.
Was it Spotaker or spot taker?
Spot taker.
Spot taker.
Yeah, the difference with that was a round head.
Yeah.
And,
But it stood up.
Yeah, it stood up a little bit. Ronnie Garrison, the outdoor writer,
Yeah.
he used to call us and buy those by like the 50 and 100 packs.
He must have loved them.
He loved them. He loved them. He loved that thing.
So
Or lost them.
Or lost them, yeah.
well, yeah, that's true.
Either way, he was buying 100 of them at a time.
I'll answer. Well, Jimmy kind of answered Nathan's question right there with his response. The federal government has better things to do with our money. They are going to do some repairs on the dam and some maintenance on the dam. However, that has absolutely zero bearing on why a bunch of the boat ramps are closing or closed already. That has absolutely zero bearing in it. The United States Army Corps of Engineers at the Georgia Division, our wonderful senators and representatives in U.S. Congress decided that we didn't need the $2.62 million additional $1 for this quarter. So boat ramps are closing. So,
I'm sitting there looking at who is that? Mark Spall.
Yeah, that's Mark Spall. Corey's
Crawl.
Corey's Crawl is a good.
It is.
Shout out to Corey over there.
That was the color that I put on and threw up there. I mean,
that was at the certain time of the day, though.
Yeah.
When you told me that story, when they weren't there, and then you went.
We were in
a tournament.
We were in a tournament. I was in a tournament with a buddy of mine named Brant Kessler, and it was the Hammond's Classic.
Mm-hmm.
We were 4th in points all year long, dropping, fishing Tamiki and all that throughout the winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Classic, and I had gone out and I happened to find some fish that were really right on top of some deep trees.
Mm-hmm.
These were big fish. And so I went back the next day, went up the road, and they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, where the hell did they go? It was about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I said, where the hell did they go? So right next to it were 2 points, rocky points that were probably only 30 yards apart. 30 yard wide, but it was 2 points that came out, just a whole bunch of big rocks. They weren't out here. I said, well, I'm just going to ease up there. So I eased up there and I just threw a shaky head up there. First fish was over 4 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, holy smokes, they run up here. I went back on Thursday. That was Monday and Tuesday. I went back on Thursday, went out there at 9 or 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock, I could see them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Left, came back at 10 o'clock and they were gone. Eased in, made a cast. This was like 50, 60 foot water with 40-foot trees.
Mm-hmm.
And then couldn't have been more than 100 feet
Mm-hmm.
to the island, basically where they were, and the 2 points and rocks. Eased back in there, made a cast, caught another fish. And I said, all right, this is what they're doing. At 10 o'clock, they're moving up here. So Brant and I had 5 fish in the boat at 9 o'clock, 9:30. They were all about 2.5 pounders. And I said, come on, it's time to go. He says, what? I said, trust me, let's go. So we jumped in it, ran up there. We got there right at 10 o'clock. I made 7 casts and I caught 5 3.5 pounders, 3 pounders, 3.5 pounders, replaced every fish we had. Brant didn't even make a cast. He was using the net and putting them into Livewell. And then
were you in your boat or were you in the Bullet?
We're in mine. Well, we got back and I told Brant, I said, we've got 17, 18 pounds. I said, nobody had really been catching them like that, the last 2 or 3 tournaments. And I said, we got up there and we weighed ours and we were walking away with it, the tournament, right?
Mhm.
Jimbo comes in and weighs. He weighs it. He beats it by like 2 ounces, 4 ounces, something like that. And he said, LJ, I'm so sorry. He says, the last cast of the day, we were at Charleston Park.
Yeah.
Well, the point going out of Charleston Park, the first point on the right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I pulled in there. He said 5 minutes before we had to be back. I pulled in there, made one cast with a jig and caught a 6-pound largemouth. He said, as soon as it hit the water, blah, 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 he got a 6-pound largemouth. I said, so you only had like 12 pounds? He says, yeah. And he ended up beating me with that one fish on the last cast with 5 minutes left in the tournament to go, or we would have won the damn classic.
Lord, well, that's just that's fishing. That's fishing tournaments. That's the way that it goes.
Yeah, but I still remember it. That's how mad I got. I remember details.
I mean, I remember a lot of stuff too, but I try not to let it.
So does Steve.
So
Steve remembers
remembers a lot of stuff.
Steve remembers a lot of stuff we don't want him to remember.
We don't want to talk about it yet.
Oh,
We still have a solid like 30 minutes to go.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago. So listen, while I was right here,
let's get back to some of the pictures. There's one particular picture I want to.
Before we get to the pictures, I do want to say this: we do have a new sponsor for the Livewell. Jason Sayers, J&S Contracting, and his other company. It is Elite Landscaping. We're working on that, getting their pictures and stuff up for you guys, and we're going to work on a banner just like we have for Rachel and Buford Dam, and for her and LJ with Lanier Baits as well. So we want to give them a shout out real quick. You can call up Jason with J&S Contracting Services. They got 23 years experience. Call them at 706-816-2049. You want to remodel your home or business, or you want to build one. In the email that he sent, they're about 3 or 4 months out right now, so they're doing some business.
That's good.
That's a good thing. So they come to us highly touted, and they come to us as honest people, good people to work with. And Jason is going to be fishing the Toyota Series next year. So he is also a fisherman.
Go get him, Jason.
So we want to give him, and we appreciate them guys coming on board and sponsoring the Livewell. And of course, Miss Rachel Collins, right here with 400 Homes. We love her to death. Call her anytime you need her for any of your buying or selling a home at 770-310-0599, or email Rachel at 400homes.com. Rachel, just like Jennifer, she's a girl who fishes. And we love girls who fish. They're great. And we got some real exciting stuff coming down the pipe here at Fish North Georgia that when Danny gets back that we're going to get into a little bit more. So with that being said, all the business is out of the way, and we appreciate our fine sponsors, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
While we're here, I got to throw a shout out.
Go ahead, throw a shout out.
The show you did with Ryan and Franco,
Mm-hmm.
that was a great show. That was good. Franco, he was. I could see it. He was squirming. And I knew what he said. God, I want to say this. God, I don't want to say this. I'm thinking that Ryan's kicking him under the table when he does it. But
Ryan was asleep by half.
Yeah, he threw out some juice that I'm really surprised he did.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he did to help people out. But I was really surprised.
All right, so now we're getting to the pictures. Perfect timing right there. LJ, do you have any pics on how you see them below the yellow line? Ryan talks about the shape of the cone as is looking at the bottom. So
do you have any pics?
With the gap.
We should have, yeah.
The first picture you had up.
I've talked about that before in terms of like when you can see some fish that are kind of like they're stuck to the bottom, but then when it just so happens to get to a point where maybe they kind of raised up just off the bottom a little bit. Yeah. So let's find that y'all bear with Paul. He's doing a fantastic job tonight, as he always does.
I think it was the first one.
Let's see if we can't find the picture as we scroll through it.
Not that one.
No.
That's the first one.
My bad, Dad.
Some of them's the hard swimmers.
Right here.
That's it.
That's the same one we've been putting up.
That's the second one.
Oh.
See, there's, and I teach this on the sonar trips.
Okay.
That red line that you see where the yellow is, you see the red line right on the bottom. That becomes critical.
Yes.
When it starts thickening up, there's a reason for it. And if you get on top of them, you see red and yellow. I think I showed you that. We were on top of a school of fish, and they were red. The bottom was red and yellow, just flickering in and out. Yeah, red and yellow, red and yellow. The red line got real thick, right? I knew those fish were right on the bottom, because what happens is you got like little bumps on the bottom. You see, if you'll look at those bumps on the bottom, if you see any red underneath them at all, that's telling you there's separation.
That's what I showed him one time.
So a fish's head and tail, right? Then they got a little belly. When they're sitting on the bottom like that, their head's not on the bottom and their tail's not on the bottom. So you'll sit in there and you see a little bump on the bottom. You see a little red there and a little red there. Like those fish I was talking about had clumps of clay on them. Yeah. That's them.
Yeah.
You put a cursor on that?
That's them. And you have to, I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm.
It wouldn't show up for them?
No, it won't show up for them. The cursor won't.
I hate to say this because I don't want it to sound like I'm drumming up business, but sonar trip, when I give sonar trips and take people out on it, we do a lot of that. I show them all that, and I repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and show it to them on different places what it's doing.
Well, that's not petty. That's important.
Well, and
especially if you're going to rely on, and especially in the wintertime, if you're going to fish and kind of rely on your electronics, in order for you to be successful, and you have, say, hummingbirds, for example, helixes or something like that, or solixes, you need to be able to understand what you're looking at. Because if you don't understand what you're looking at, then you're going to skip. You're potentially going to skip over a 40 fish hole. So going out with you,
people have the L words, they have the G words. Yeah. Sonar is sonar. It's just the operating menu. You just got to kind of figure.
Buttons are different.
The buttons are different. The menus are different. Now I'm a fan of hummingbirds because I just think they have the cleanest picture. That's just me.
I run Lawrence's, but I think Hummingbird has the best mapping, and I think they have the clearest.
And that's just my opinion, but they're good. But these are the things that I talk about and show people on, and I might go to 10 different holes, and I'll see the same thing and show it to them. Look, there he is. This is confirming it. He's on 2D right here. This is confirming it. Look, there's multiple fish here, and then we'll get up front, and you ease over, and all of a sudden you see a school of them. Well, those are things that takes 10 years off your learning curve.
Right.
But when you see them on a sonar, by the time that we're through with that trip and you go, say you're gone to yourself, you're about out by yourself somewhere and you see it, all of a sudden it says, damn, that's what LJ was talking about.
Yeah.
And it starts clicking.
So that's what I wanted to hit on real quick, was because if you go back and watch some of the other the live wells and stuff, because LJ's been on here several times. I don't know how many times exactly you've been on here, but you've got several podcasts with us that you've come and done. But I wanted to hit on that for you guys that are listening and watching this. One thing that is very important that LJ has repeated multiple times, and I've heard him say this before, is when you go out with him, and then he shows you the see it and the confirm it thing. So then when you're on your own, after you do that, just like what he said, I said, damn, that's what LJ was talking about. When you see it and he shows you, as you look at it, when you lean over there and you look at the console with him, and then he can confirm it and show you. And then you can confirm it a third way by dropping down there and catching the fish. Then the ball starts really rolling down the hill.
And the more they start seeing it, before you know it, then
you get confidence.
They get confident. They understand their sonars.
Yeah.
But it's something to see 2 or 3 fish on your screen. And my favorite screen when I'm deep fishing is my 2D and my down imaging. Right, those 2 screens, because the 2D tells me something there. The down imaging confirms it. And a lot of people see bumps on the bottom, and then they'll look on their 2D and they'll see that it's really just a stick up because of the way the beam works.
Yeah.
And something in ditches I wanted to talk about earlier. The 2D is a cone. It's like an upside down ice cream cone, right? About a third of the water depth. Right. Well, so if the cone is like say the cone is this big, right? And there's a ditch right here. When it come in here, one part of the cone is going down in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is still on top.
Mm-hmm.
And then it switches real quick because you're going through the ditch.
Yep.
So you get a little V
Mm-hmm.
instead of the U like you do on your down imaging.
Right.
Well, I put up a post the other day in a video. I said, this is what I was talking about on sonar trips.
Mm-hmm.
What it was is that's a dead zone. When that beam comes like this and it falls down like that, what's in the middle there is a dead zone. You cannot see if the fish are on the ledge.
Mm-hmm.
The imaging goes down, across, comes back up. You could spot those fish on the ledge. And there's a video on my Facebook page of me showing people that. Said, here's it was just, we just came off of a ledge is all it was.
Mm-hmm.
We came off of a ledge and it didn't look like, but there was maybe one or two fish right there, right? But when you saw the imaging side of it, you could see them just stacked on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of stuff you learn on the sonar trips.
Sonar trip with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I pump it into your head. I pump it into your head so that when you go out on your own, it hits you.
You and Ken Sturdivant are probably about one of the only two guides that really kind of like you can just go out and go on a sonar trip with them.
Well, there's some out there that there's some out there that were with me a couple of years ago, and the next thing you know, they're giving them.
Right.
So I mean,
It is what it is.
I don't know how to explain it. You know, I mean, it took me a long time.
This isn't really something, you know, and I know guys, some guys kind of harp on me a little bit because I'm very adamant that, you know, I don't really rely on my electronics too terribly much when I fish. But however, there is a time and a place where
that's
I do
because you
use
fish
mine.
water 4 foot.
Well, that is true. That is very true. Where electronics are basically useless for me. But there is instances with this time of the year coming up where if you run into me, I'm not necessarily sitting up on going down dang bank. I'll be in the middle of the creeks and in the middle of these ditches and stuff, and I'll be fishing them with the ditch diggers and my underspins and stuff because I like to reel. You know, I like to cast and reel.
There is one thing
you like to open the bell and let it fall. I'm just giving you a hard time, but
well, I'm lazy. Casting is overrated.
Casting is overrated.
But I'll tell you something I am going to do with you. I'm going to go out with you one day. I want to learn to jig fish.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how to fish it. I know how to drag it. I know how to hop it. Yeah. I've just never really been a jig fisherman.
We're planning on already. I mean, you've been talking for the past couple of weeks. We're planning on doing a couple swaps anyway.
Well, I was talking about you being just an anchor.
Oh, okay. Well,
down the rope here.
Well, God, listen to him. Does anyone fish Lanier way up the rivers? Everybody seems to only fish the main lake. You stay out of the rivers.
LJ,
there ain't no fish up there.
When, if ever, do you change frequencies? Okay,
that's a good question.
That's a good question. And I'll tell you one.
That's on your side.
Well, on my side and down. All right, down imaging.
Just talking about that?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
On my down imaging, if I'm 40 foot or deeper, I go from mega to 455. 455 was made for deeper water.
Yes.
It will show me more.
Yes.
What I'm looking for. On side imaging, there's one thing you have to understand on side imaging that a lot of people don't. Hypothetical. Earl didn't know it.
I know what you're going to say. This is a big trip up for a lot of people.
This is the big thing. If you're in, say you're on 70 feet out on both sides, you're in 40 foot of water. You are not going out 70 feet. You are going down 40 feet and out 30. Down 40, out 30.
Why? Because your cone that comes outside imaging is basically like a 45 degree.
That's angle. Right. And you can't, you know, if I've got it on the 100-foot scale and I'm in 10 foot of water, then I'm going down 10 and I'm going out 90. All right. Deeper the water, it's not as wide. Like I keep my stuff on because I'm a vertical fisherman.
Yeah.
So I want to see what's in that tighter area. So I might put mine on 60, 65 feet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going over 40 foot of water. Well, that means I'm 40 foot down and only 10 foot wide. So I'm pinpointing it as I go over.
Right.
This stuff.
Right.
Well, that's something a lot of people. Earl didn't know that the other day. I showed it to him.
One tip too, if you guys that have side imaging too, is this is something that I've learned. And I don't have side imaging, but I've got a couple of buddies that I fish with that do have side imaging. The farther you point it out, the less of a better picture you have.
That's right.
So LJ likes to keep his at 70, but in reality, he has got 40 feet to the left and 40 feet to the right. Once you get beyond, and you can correct me on this, but in my opinion, no matter what you run, once you get beyond that 60-foot range, you start losing.
Yeah. And you can you can change the frequency from mega. See, I like my side imaging on mega.
Mhm.
I like my dynamic contrast on, and in the sonar menu, I go down and put it on the water column sensitivity.
Yeah.
I put it on 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So now the dynamic contrast will actually give me more shadows. It shows me the shadows better.
Yeah. And that's what you need when you need to find like stumps and
That's
brush
right.
piles and fish.
It'd be great for you going up shallow water.
Yeah.
But when I put it on the water column sensitivity, if it's real dirty water, it can go from 0, -3, 0, +3.
Mm-hmm.
So in muddy water, I might want to bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time on Lanier, if I'm fishing, I'm in deep water, I've got it on 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is whatever's not connected to the bottom pops a little better.
Okay.
I can see it better. Hey, Paul, see if you can pull up that one picture with the down imaging where there's just a whole bunch of bait on the bottom.
And while you're doing that, scratch fishing, translate that to what are you exactly saying in Lowrance? Because he said translate that to Lowrance. So I'll let him. I'll let him reiterate his question.
I'd really have to see the menu. I can't. I mean, I can say I can with Lowrance. I'd have to see if they have those features. I can't really remember. So book a sonar trip.
Book a sonar trip. So as Paul is pulling this one up.
Yeah,
here.
I think this one is going to blow your mind a little bit.
Okay.
All right, what do you see there? You see big balls of bait, right? Where the heck did it go?
Where'd it go?
Paul.
Just pull it back up. It's down there on the bottom. It's on the bar.
It's on the block.
Yeah, it's on the bar. If the bar will even pull up, when we need the bar to pull up, it should be all the way over to the right. When we need the bar to pull up, it pulls up on its own. When it don't need it to, it does that crap.
All right, you notice this picture. Bunch of bait down there, right?
Yep.
I could not see the game fish, but I knew they were there, and we ended up catching them.
And this is DI.
That's down imaging. I knew they were there, and we were catching them. How? You see the holes in the bait fish?
Yep.
That is where game fish were running through them.
Yep.
And it put up a hole.
It'll pull a bowl.
And you can see in the middle hole, you can see a brighter dot right at the bottom of that hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what dynamic contrast does. It pops better, and it shows me that.
And on 2D, if this was in 2D version for you guys,
it would just look like
look like a blob of yellow and red, and then there would be a blue hole in there where it's blowed through.
Right.
And if you look, you would probably see like a little arc that's going down to the bottom, that's close to the bottom. That fish has swam through the bottom of that bait, and it has blowed a hole through that bait.
And guys, I'll tell y'all something. This isn't on here anywhere, but I'll tell y'all something about vertical fishing. Like if you're dropping or demicky rigging or spooning, if you're sitting still and you see inverted V's on your screen on the bow, they've already come and gone. Those are fish that actually swam through the cone. So they entered, caused it to go up, and then they exited, caused them to go down. When you see them, like squiggly lines and spaghetti, those are the fish that are stationary and staying below you. They're not moving. But if you're sitting there and all of a sudden you see arches on your front graph and then they're gone, what happened is the fish was swimming through it and they swam through the zone. They're already come and gone.
Yeah.
Like the stripers. That's how you see a lot of stripers.
Is that threadfin or herring? Could you confirm that?
That I don't have the 2D picture. I'm guessing that the way they're schooled in a ball instead of
I would say
elongated.
Shad.
Yeah, they're threadfin.
The threadfin shad.
Yeah.
He said, go back up a little bit. Scratch fishing said I already did. What did he say? Go back up, Paul, just a little bit. Oh, you talking about chirp? Yeah, that would be chirp.
High chirp
on the high chirp. That would be high chirp
yes.
on Lowrance.
Yes, high chirp on Lowrance.
Yeah. So what's it? I think I'd like to ditch fish with an Alabama rig. It is a very, very good bait until the water temperature drops below 50, and then they don't want to chase it no
Or you
more.
get hung up.
Mm-hmm.
You get hung up.
Well, it's part of the game, but you'll catch 3s and 4s on Lanier, or you'll catch 3 and 4 fish at a time on Lanier. It's about the only place I've ever found it to where, especially when they're stacked up, if they want to eat it, Alabama rig, you will catch 3 or 4 at a time. Let's see here as we keep going now, because we've only got about 10 minutes left before we're going to cut this thing out. Cooper McDonald said my Garmin shows him swimming through it. Well, he's a Panoptics guy. He primarily uses that on the front of the boat when he's fishing. So, and he's a very, very, very good angler for a high school angler.
Cooper.
They got first place in the GHSF. Shout out to Cooper and my nephew Walker Grizzle. His partner this year, they got first place.
Did you see the video the other day when I was out with McKinley, and it was our Mega Live, Humminbird Mega Live with 2D, and I had tweaked it up.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did.
That was probably that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Guys, all these are great units. I mean, I'm just a Humminbird guy, but they're all great units. You just got to tweak them up, and once you tweak them up, they can be sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, some do better. Like a Garmin, you can pick your bait up at, I don't know, they'd say 60 feet, 70 feet. Jimmy and I were working on his, and one of the best ways to tune that up is to go and spot lock or go and sit next to a bridge piling that's 50 feet out or 100 feet out, whatever it is. You did, and then how many casts did we make? We were sitting there for 30 minutes, made a ton of casts, and you could see by the time we got it tweaked up, you could see where the bait hit. And then we would reeling it, and we'd get it out about 70 feet. You'd see it enter the water. We'd start reeling it, but it was about 50 feet that we started picking it up. And so that once we got them tweaked up, dude, that's they're pretty good, and there was no fuzz in it. It was just clean.
Should we drop the little conversation that me and you had when I come over there about 2 weeks ago about if whatever company can figure out how to get Panoptics at live imaging to go look like this and like this at the same time?
They cornered the market.
Yeah.
But it's good. Hey, here's a little juice for y'all. These are you can see the fruity colored worms. These are ponytail for girls, ponytail holders. I guess they call them. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah,
but
elastics.
Yeah, but if you put these on your drop shot rod down on the handle, like below the reel towards the bottom of the rod, then when you pull up your drop shot, all you got to do is slide your weight in between them. I put it on there 3 or 4 times, wind it on there. Just put it on between. It's the greatest drop shot holder you ever had. Yeah, it holds your weight, So there's you another juice.
All right. Is there anything else you want to hit before we get into the hard swimmers?
We're going to talk about the swimmers.
All right. We're going to talk about the swimmers here. All right, guys. You guys pay attention to this right here. Right. You guys been hearing us talk about them here for the past about month or so here on the show. Here they are again.
We have the big thing was that custom painted baits are $150, $200. Some people get $250 for them. Come on, that's fishermen. We're fishermen. It's tough times right now. So we wanted to find a bait, and I can't tell you exactly what it is. It's corporate secrets, but I can tell you that you can reel this. We got a video out. We've got a reel. Hey, can you put the picture up of the packaging?
Yeah, there's a picture of the packaging.
Did we talk about what the holes were? That there were yeah, we said.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the packaging. It's the blue packaging. That one right there.
Swim off.
So I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit something about them. First of all, custom colors. They are custom painted. This is a herring. We actually sent it to our manufacturers, and they
You can't
came
see
back with
percent.
the
Pull it
herring.
up until the main screen up.
Oh,
So
hell. I'm losing my mind, dude.
Everybody knows why we're here, why he's pulling it up. Everybody
There it
knows
is. Right there.
that the FCN H2O is a special color in our jerk shad that, well, Jimmy Sanders loves it. We've got it in the swimmer.
The swimmer.
The swimmer too.
Swim,
Now you notice this has a feather hook on it. All of our baits. There's our packaging. Slow sinking. It's 125 millimeters, which is about 4.5 inches. 5 inches. Which one is it? 4.5. 5? One of those.
About 5 inches.
And then the coloring. They're slow sinkers, but every one of them have, first of all, custom paint. Secondly, we have hardened clear coat to where. And now, if you casting it and banging the bridge piling, 50 times, yeah, it might chip or something.
Break.
But we didn't have any hook rash. We actually went up to Jimmy was with me. We actually went to Michigan, and we fished this bait. The first day we had 43 smallmouth. The second day we had like 50 something smallmouth. The third day we quit counting about 225 of smallmouth and big white bass on this bait. And then we took a picture of it on the carpet, and it didn't look like it had been used. We hardened the clear coat so that you don't get chip paint and you don't get hook rash and all on it.
Look at him. That's
The-
your hand, Earl.
I know.
The hooks,
I'm trying to get it.
the hooks are forged steel with a black nickel coating, number 4 trebles, with a black nickel coating for corrosion resistant. The reason we did that is because I have a friend of mine, it's a customer, that he goes out fishing with me. He loves the Magic Swimmer. He loves the swimmers. They were in Florida, and they weren't getting any bites. Did I tell them how far we go, how many fish we caught on that yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, damn.
Man,
Jimmy.
you get old.
I'm in a hole.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
He
so
needs more dew.
well, we stopped it. We stopped at 225. We caught a lot more fish after that, smallmouth and white bass.
Jimmy Meadows said
Anyway.
600.
There you go. That's what I was trying to do.
All right, but he took it in salt water. And Ken, if you're watching, how you doing, buddy? Ken.
Ken Burt?
No,
Oh.
this guy Ken Phillips.
Okay.
And he went down there and they were snook fishing and they weren't catching hardly anything. And he said, I'm going to try the swimmer. He put on the swimmer and they had the best day of snook fishing the guide has ever had.
That is awesome.
And it was salt water. When he got it, we're still waiting for us.
Snook aren't easy to catch.
Nope. Every one of the baits come with a feather hook in the box. That way you got your choice of leaving it without a feather or putting the feather on it. And a lot of people put the feather hooks on the back of their
There you go.
swim baits and the back of their top waters. But you can see the feather hook. You got one with it and one without it. They're both in the box.
This is the one that y'all were throwing up on. That's on the screen.
That's the one we were throwing
y'all
up on-
throwing up there.
Up at St. Clair, and they were hammering it. Meadows and I were in the same boat together, and they were hammering it.
That's the blue back herring.
Yep.
Who put it behind the pink
Nice
flowers?
flowers there.
They,
behind them.
that's the FCN H2O, the one that just came up. That was from the manufacturer,
Probably
sir.
have the feather at either one.
No, we didn't have the feathers on those then either. But we did it, and we got the bait back, and we took even our guide said this is the best.
There's
That's,
FCN H2O.
What are those little balls?
Only Pinkston.
I mean, we got the flowers and we
There's
got
the
it
chrome
sitting
one.
on
There's
balls.
what should we call it? What's the real name?
Yeah, what did you overprice
It's
chrome?
overpriced chrome.
Oh, the other
Somebody said they were too much for $39.99, which leads me to believe they hadn't seen the 120.
Look at all them balls, Pinkston.
$250.
Look at that. That's
Look
a
at all them
beautiful
balls.
color.
It's a bunch of balls.
God.
Oh, I mean, I guess
But-
I'm
These
not seeing the artistic vision.
the swimmers will be out
November 18th.
November 18th.
Mhm.
We've already pre-sold a ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if y'all want to, y'all can go on the website, lanierbaits.com, and you can pre-order them. But Corey got a video of a rare occurrence. It was me casting and reeling in one as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And
I think everyone.
Did anybody faint?
Was that on a Cast King Speed Demon reel?
Actually, it was a Cast King, but it was a 7. It was the 8-to-1 instead of 10-to-1.
Okay, Mega Giles.
Yeah, but that sucker, fast as I could reel it, it was just running true as could be. And a lot of bait, you know as well as I do, when you crank them too fast, they come up on their sides.
Mm-hmm.
These weren't.
Yeah. It's very important when you're throwing a Sabile swimmer type bait for the bait to come and track back
Straight.
Yeah. That is probably one of the biggest things in terms of getting a bite on that.
That thing crushed the white bass and the smallmouth bass up at St. Clair.
Kurt Wehunt said those are molded Cocoa Puffs.
Works for me.
Well, he got it 4.92 inches, 125 millimeters.
Leave it
that a boy Wehunt.
To get it for real. So, well,
very nice.
Listen, we're excited about I know you guys are excited, and I know North Georgia especially is really excited about the
retail.
They're going to be $39.99, correct?
Yep, $40. $39.99 because $40 was too much.
We talked about that before. Overpriced swimmers.
I mean, we're $100 and $150 less, up to $200 less than most of them, and we're overpriced.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
We always want.
So, well, listen, guys. As always, we appreciate LJ and the gang always coming. We appreciate Steve Pinkston being here tonight. He's awesome.
It.
Huh?
Yeah,
he got to sit back and absorb tonight, Steve.
I did.
I'm actually going to be sore tomorrow from laughing from Pinkston.
Well, that was
before we got down here.
That was pre-show, as I said before at the beginning
more of a pre-show entertainment.
Yeah, you are.
You were definitely.
Ham sandwiches and stuff like that. You know?
There was one thing I wanted to tell. I don't know if I mentioned it. Y'all correct me if I am.
Go ahead.
On the drop shot.
Mm-hmm.
On the drop shot, 25 feet or less, I drop a 1/4 ounce weight.
Okay. This is important.
Down to 45, 50 foot, I'll drop a 3/8.
Okay.
If I have to go deeper in that, or if the wind's blowing, I will go to a half.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors there's basically 4 colors that I use during the winter months for drop shot fishing.
Okay.
Sunny days is, and you can use them anytime during sunny or overcast. But I have a system that keeps me more efficient instead of spinning out and trying to do 50 different things in 50 different colors.
Mm-hmm.
The blues on sunny day, blue lily and prism shad.
Mm-hmm.
On overcast days, most of the time it's sweet rosy or morning dawn. I'm down in that deep water.
Okay.
Those are the 4 that you really have. Huh?
So make sure you write that down.
Oh yeah, epic flash.
It's a
combination of both.
Yeah.
Epic flash is a bad color.
Epics are all.
Now I will
don't forget about epic.
It was to give you an idea of how you can turn these schools on in the wintertime. Earl and I were out one day. We pulled up on a group of fish. He was dropping blue lily only. I dropped 9 different color worms that I just had laying on the deck.
Mm-hmm.
That were old worms laying on the deck. I dropped 9 different colors and caught fish on every one of them.
Very nice.
And he was catching them too. We were just exchanging blows on them. That's how you can turn on a school.
Mm-hmm.
When you turn it on we could have been dropping a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we might have. It was a little. I don't think it was deep enough for a Demiki, but we were. That's how fast I was just picking them up off the floor of the boat and just putting them on and dropping them. I mean, and he was kept with blue lily.
Well, is that all?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I just want to make
Unless
sure
I can sell my boat right now.
I'm positive.
If you want to buy a boat, Earl's boat's for sale.
My boat is for sale.
LJ's boat's for sale as well.
Mine is for sale with all the electronics on it.
Okay, my boat is not for sale.
Ryan's is not for sale. Pinkston is going to buy mine.
No, I'm not.
Oh, Lord.
Come on, sell more nuts and buy
I'm
it.
not buying a new boat.
Boats for sale.
Go sell your nuts and buy them.
I'm not going to buy a new boat.
Why?
I've got bigger plans for my money.
Bigger. Bigger.
Is it the size bigger as you were telling about earlier?
Well, I got me a. I'm just saying, I got a lot up on Lake Hartwell, and I want to build on there one day.
Hey,
And
there's a L chance you could pour some.
Mortar weights with a circular line ring for free rigging. So, are you
No, but
are
I
you
tell
gonna
you
get the
what, you
lead
can-
pot out?
No, but I tell you, for what? For free line string for free.
Instead of the
Oh.
pin type at the top, you turn it around. I can do it. I can do it on the. I can do it.
I don't know. I'd have
I know.
to ask
I know
them.
what it is.
I'd have to ask them.
Call us.
I'd have to
I
ask
can
him,
do
Derek.
it, Derek. I can do it, Derek. Don't worry about it. There, I just stole business from you. You gotta love it. So,
I ain't believing you did that.
lots of good
Good
information.
fellas, lots of good information. Good show,
We-
fellas. Thank
we-
you, buddy.
We appreciate that. So, with that being said, guys, we're over the 2-hour mark, and it's fun. We could sit here and probably talk till the sun comes up. Earl will probably pass out beforehand. Though.
I need beer.
Oh, he needs beer.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
This is past Meadows' bedtime.
Meadows,
How far are we?
He's the Russell man.
is Jackie asleep already?
Oh,
Yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah."
She's been asleep since 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah. So, but we want to thank all of our fine sponsors for her apparel for her outdoor apparel. Oakwood Bait and Tackle,
Wow.
Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. I apologize for that. Of course, fine people at Lanier Baits, Rachel Collins of 400 Homes, and then of course when we will get this one squared away for next week, Jason Sayers with J&S Contracting and Elite Landscape. Actually, Paul, if you scroll down there on the overlay all the way to the bottom, I may actually have. Go back up. Go back up. There it is, right there. Hit that one. There it is, Elite Landscaper and Pressure Washing Services. That's part of Jason Sayers right there. So,
Dude, you covered my face.
yeah, we covered up LJ's face. So we appreciate them coming on board, guys. We really do. So with that being said, guys, we hope you learned a ton. Go back and watch this again and again and again. We appreciate your viewership. Danny's going to be gone. You stuck with me and Paul for the next 2 or 3 live wells. So still waiting on that Lanier Baits True Grit tourney. Oh Lord, I don't know. Well, that'll depend. We'll have to see how that goes. So it might happen one day.
What's that? The tournament?
You're welcome, Steve.
The tournament.
The tournament?
We're gonna have a
The
20.
tournament. The tournament of power.
A tournament.
The tournament of power. The Tower of Power. Guys, we appreciate it as always. We will see you guys on the next live well. Do not forget about our Patreon as well. Hit me up if you want to know about that. LJ, Steve,
maybe
Earl.
we'll put me on some Patreon material.
I'll put you on some Patreon.
Let people pay
material.
for it.
Yeah, I'll put you on some Patreon material.
Good to
So
see you, dude.
we
Yeah.
appreciate you
Nice
guys.
job, Mr. Ryan.
We are out.
I'll just hug you when we get in the car.
We'll worry about
Good
that.
job, buddy.
later. We'll worry about that. Thanks, Earl.
I'll give you a
Appreciate
hug
it.
when
Look
we
at
get
that.
in the
Look at
car.
that. I just
High
shook a
five,
Hall of
everybody.
Famer's hands. You guys be good. We'll
See
see
ya
you
later.
guys on the next
Yeah.
one.
I get a participation.
Participation.